Now, we've spoken a bunch about some past draft picks, but this draft in June, a lot of people are hyping it up to be one of the greatest of all time, although people do usually do that every single year. But there are a lot of big names that I kind of wanted to get your 2 cents on. Starting with DeAndre Ayton from Arizona. Is he the consensus number one overall pick? If you had the number one pick and you're the Phoenix Suns, are you taking this guy?
I mean, I would say right now he's the hot name for the number one pick. You've still got almost 3 months till the draft, so a lot of things can happen. But he's 7'1". He's got a 7'5.5" wingspan. He's built like Hercules. He averaged 20 and 11 this year. He can run like a deer. He's very mobile, active. He's athletic. The one thing that's a question mark with him is sometimes his motor. And I would also like to see a little more shot blocking out of him just based on his physical tools. But right now, I would say he'd be the number one pick.
Yeah, personally, I'm pretty pissed at him right now because I had Arizona going all the way in March Madness. But it's okay. I forgive him if he ends up on one of my favorite teams, but we'll see. I think he's a good guy. Luka Doncic from overseas. I'm also curious, and I'll ask that as a follow-up, but what do you think of Doncic when you see him, when you see like the highlights from overseas? How do you judge a player differently who's playing in the NCAA and who's maybe playing professionally overseas?
Well, Doncic is a guy that's everybody knows. He's been around for a while. He's played against high-level competition. He and Goran Dragic led Slovenia to the European Championships last year. So he's a stat stuffer. He's averaging 15, 5, and 5. He's a multi-position player. He can play the 1, the 2, the 3. He's got a lot in his toolbox. He can shoot the ball, handle the ball. He's a very good pick and roll player. Guys are going to like playing with him because if you're open, he's going to get it to you. The only question marks with him, I would say, are his foot speed. He's not a great athlete either, but he's got a very high basketball IQ. He's going to be a terrific player for somebody.
Yeah. Now, one thing I'm wondering too, and I've been thinking about lately, in pre-draft workouts, do you think that weighs more for the guys coming from overseas? Because whether it's scouts or whether it's fans or whatever, just the overall hype on a player is different from a guy coming from the NCAA who's been in the United States and people have been watching him play for sometimes 10 years before he's drafted in the LeBron James case. Do you think the pre-draft workouts weigh more for guys overseas?
No, not in today's age. I don't think. We're every team's got a big scouting staff, and you're going to see overseas international players a ton. And so the pre-draft workouts are just a small piece of the puzzle. It's important to have the pre-draft workouts and to interview guys and to see them face to face. But it's just another piece of the puzzle. So I wouldn't say you should weigh it any more heavily.
Got it. Marvin Bagley, another guy people have been hyping up for a while. A couple of months ago, people were saying he's going to be the number one overall pick. Now people are saying 3 to 5 maybe. Where do you kind of see him at right now?
No, I see him definitely in the top 5. He's a guy that plays both ends of the floor. Reminds me a little bit of Chris Bosh. Okay. He can play inside. He can play outside. He's got a great motor. His work ethic is really high. So I think he's going to do well in interviews, and he's going to be a very good player for a long time.
What kind of things do you want to get out of those player interviews? Say you're interviewing Marvin. What kind of stuff would you want to ask him?
I think the main thing is just to get to know him a little bit. See what his personality is like. See if he has a sense of humor. You can ask him some tough questions if there are any off-court issues that you want to ask him. You want to see how he responds to those things. You want to ask him about some of his good games, some of his bad games. You want to also see how much he likes playing. You'd be surprised how much some of these guys follow the NBA and how much some of them don't follow the NBA. And when guys don't follow the NBA as much as you think they should, I think it's a red flag, because then they don't have a propensity to improve because they don't love the game.